There's something lovely called the Liverpool Care Pathway, which this hospice is bringing into the community at the moment, showing people in care homes how to apply it, but they're going elsewhere too. You might like to look at that on the internet. And it tackles this very difficult subject of, is everybody saying what they want to say to each other? And I would have liked to say goodbye to my father. The next death, chronologically, was my husband's, Desmond Wilcox, documentary filmmaker, made those fantastic films about the boy David. Perhaps you remember. And he had had a series of tough times with his heart, starting in 1986. Had bypasses and stents, and I know Southampton General better than I want to. And then he had a massive heart attack. No, I'm telling a lie, because after that heart attack he had a dissected aorta, which I think we have experts in the room, so I hope I'm not making a mistake, but I think it's the same thing Princess Di had. A massive artery just pulls itself apart and you bleed to death. So there he was in hospital, and I went in after he'd had all his tests which revealed what was going on, and they told me, and I had to control myself. I walked in with a smile on my face, and Desi looked at me and he said, "Esther, I know, they've told me." Wonderful. So I said to the nurse, he was in pain, I said, "Could he have, please, all the pain relief he needs, shove the morphine in?" And she said to me, "It'll depress his breathing." And I said, "So?" Interesting, isn't it, that this mythology continues, that giving a patient morphine when he needs it is somehow wrong. Because this man was dying. He knew he was dying. Anyway, they shoved the morphine in, his brain cleared, he said all his goodbyes to everybody he wanted to say. And it was a very good death, apart from two details. One was, he died in intensive care. Now, the thing about intensive care is, if any part of a hospital is dedicated to saving, rescuing, using every possible means, technological, medication, any way to save a life, it's intensive care. And they didn't have anywhere for families. So they put us in a room which was a teaching room. So it had a lot of stacked chairs in one corner. And hanging on a hat stand, it had a skeleton. Now, a skeleton has a most unfortunate grin. And after the first 2 hours, I could stand it no longer, and I had my coat over its head. The other thing was that after I'd been with Desi for some hours, a nurse came bustling in and said, "Time to do some tests, Mrs. Wilcox." I was lying on his bed, he had his arms around me. So I had to get off his bed, out of his arms, and I never got back on or in his arms again. Now, in the Liverpool Care Pathway, it asks you the question, is this test necessary? It wasn't. And I wish he hadn't done that. And I would have liked to spend the rest of Desi's life in his arms. You can't take those moments back. That's why they're so important. I can't rewind like I can on my Sky Plus. So I mind that. Then, after Desi, my mother died, age 93, indomitable. You may have seen a program called Would Like to Meet, or you may not. It was a dating documentary. I took part in it. The theory was that maybe I, like other newly single middle-aged people, be it through bereavement or divorce, might like to start dating again, but I had no idea how to do it. So they coached me. And in the middle of it all, I took my mum out to lunch on Mother's Day. And they filmed it. And the producer said to me, talk about the program to your mother. So I said, Mum, the BBC's going to find me a man. And she said, oh, that's nice then. So I said, what kind of man do you think would do? So she said, oh, well, you should better be fairly successful, but not as ambitious as you are. She'd never said anything like that to me before, so I thought, oh, check the glass of wine. It was going down healthily, so I said to her, well, what about romance? My mother had ears like whatever those birds are that hear everything. Isn't it a bat that hears everything? Well, she had very good ears. So I said, what about romance? She said, what, dear? I said, what about passion, Mum? She looked at me and she said, you're too old for sex. That was my mum. It was the best bit of the film. She then turned to my daughter, who was also lunching with us, who was sitting next to her boyfriend, and said, but you're not, darling, you can have loads of it. Poor daughter turned right pink, as did her boyfriend. Anyway, that's the character she was. Now, it's no good me saying, you must discuss death. You mustn't allow the taboo to silence you. You must know what people want, so that that's the best gift they can give you. If you're doing, as I did for Desmond, the memorial service he planned, that's terrifically satisfying. You know, to have it all work out the way he would have wanted it. There's no better gift